Well, it's about that time. The Rutledge Perspective Radio Show coming your way this morning at 10 a.m. Central from the historic KCOH TV radio station, The Boost, at the corner of Alameda and Wichita in Houston, Texas. Come join me because we're going to chat about leadership and showing up and getting aligned and getting clear and taking action and voting and voting and voting and all of that stuff. So join me for some great conversation and a few laughs. And then when we're done, be sure and head over to your favorite podcast platform or to my website, laurelrutledge.com, and subscribe to my weekly podcast, the Rutledge Perspective Podcast. Episodes drop every Wednesday, and they are short and sweet, commute worthy. And I promise you, you'll get something out of every one that will help you shift your perspective. Because when you shift your perspective, you shift your circumstances. See you soon. Okay, y'all. It is Tuesday morning. I am Laurel Rutledge, the host of the Rutledge Perspective Radio Show live here on KCOH TV Global Networks, The Boost in Houston, Texas. We're trying ECAM again, y'all. Look, we're going to give everybody at least a second chance. So we're going to try it again. It says my speed is good. Everything right now is good. Everything is up. So I'm believing that it's going to work. I'm believing that it's going to work. So you should be seeing me live on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on my YouTube channel, as well as on the KCOH channel. And if it doesn't happen again, at least it'll stay on one channel and then I'll figure something else out. I may be using 42 different cameras and multiple different devices to make it happen, but we're going to figure this out to make this happen for you guys. So thank y'all so much for tuning in today on Tuesday, the 6th of June. The 6th of June. I can't believe it. It's the 6th of June. And so we're going to talk about today kind of the consequences of some of these hidden agendas. We talked about that about last month sometime. And I'm going to do this in the context of some things that have just happened in the latest Texas legislative session. I want to talk about it in that context because it is about the consequences, right, of the actions we take. If you want to go back and look at some of this, I did a podcast called Good Intentions, Bad Impact. I believe that was in 2021. It was either 2021 or 2022. Good Intentions, Bad Impact. And this is what we're going to talk about today is the result of, one, not paying attention, two, complacency, and three, our willingness to accept mediocrity, our willingness to say it's okay, that qualifications and experience don't matter. And I'm going to talk about that specific thing in the very end. So before I get into all of that, I want to say I am operating in such gratitude because my new website might actually be up on Thursday. Y'all send up some good vibes because it's supposed to be done on Thursday. We had to really dig deep and they're making some things happen today. And so hopefully it'll be up on Thursday, which means you guys will have access to my new 30-day Shifting Perspectives. It's a 30-day video series. I'm really excited about it. It's got a little PDF, little journal thing you can use. You can download it or you can upload it into your GoodNotes if you do digital journaling. And just one page a day. You get one video a day. The videos are no longer than like 2 minutes, but it's really 30 days to kind of shift your perspective, right? Because you shift your perspective, you shift your circumstances. So we'll have access to that. And here's the thing. If this website thing doesn't work on Thursday, I'm going to find a way to just make sure you guys can get it anyway. But I'd like to do that as a whole launch. And then the other thing I have for you guys who are entrepreneurs, there is a 5 video series. It's called The 5 Biggest Mistakes to Avoid as you're building and retaining your dream team. And I've done this before. I've just revamped it to really focus on founders, right? Really focus on those folks who are building businesses. Now, you don't have to be a founder because the mistakes apply even if you are in a corporate setting and you're building a team or trying to manage a team or retain your team. But it's called The 5 Biggest Mistakes. So that will be ready when I launch it too. And then I will be seeing a number of you, hopefully that are listening, I'll be seeing a number of you in New Orleans this coming weekend for the BWLC, that conference. I'm really excited to be there and see all of you, which is the other reason I was pushing to get this done so that I'll be able to connect with all of you. So lots of really exciting things coming up. I'm really excited for this website because, you know, we talk a lot about how we transition and how we as entrepreneurs, we learn and grow. As leaders, we learn and grow. We come into who we are and what our leadership styles are, sitting in our integrity, in our authenticity, in how we show up, always being consistent in how we show up, right? That builds trust. Be who you are. Because the other thing is, if you can just be you, then you don't have to figure out what you said the last time because you're always showing up as you. And so this website, this refresh is really so much more reflective of who I am now, who I've grown into, who I've always been from a heart perspective, right? From a character perspective, but much more reflective of the work that I'm doing now and the impact that I want to make now and all of those kind of things. So I'm really, really excited to share it with you. And I hope you guys love it as much as I do. At least what I've seen so far. I love it. So that's really exciting. So stay tuned. I will have those things ready for you. And some of you are going to be getting some emails. So here's the deal. If you are not yet on my email list, I got a ton of people on my email list now. Y'all are coming through on my email list. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm having to delete some people just because it looks like somehow folks are getting on and not really intending to or something. So if you unsubscribe from my list, which you are perfectly, I'm cool with that because I get so many emails too. I hope you don't. I hope you find value in it. But if you unsubscribe, I'm actually seeing that you unsubscribed and I'm taking you completely out of the system. So if you get one more, please know that it just happened in between when I was able to go back and clean it up. But my system, if you unsubscribe, you should not get anything else. But I am double checking that at least once a week because I want to be respectful of your email boxes because we get so much stuff. I want to be respectful of your inbox. But if you want to get the notification and get the immediate link and all that kind of stuff to the new things that are coming, join my email list. You can still do that now. Now, the site is going to be down for changeover on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I'm going to try to do some posting and say, hey, the Laurel site is down. LaurelRutledge.com site is down on Wednesday because we're uploading the new site. So I will get that out to you. But if you want to join my email list, then you'll get on the newsletter, which will have your access to these new things so you can get to them. Because I also have a little freebie for everybody, which is like just 12 minutes worth of nuggets, right? 12 minutes of inspiration for you, which is a freebie when you sign up for my email list. And again, when you get the freebie, you are saying you want to be on my email list, but every email at the bottom has an unsubscribe button. So I will not be offended. I get it. I assume that those who need me are going to show up. Those who want to get the information are going to get it. And those who don't, who it's not for them, that's okay too. Look, there are billions of people in the world, right? So it is not my intention to spam anybody or force anybody to take my information. So if you want to unsubscribe, I'm okay with that. And I hope at some point in time, if it resonates for you, you just come back. The door is open, right? The village is open. All right. So let's talk about this whole idea of the impact of our decisions. And sometimes it takes a minute for us to see what those are. You know, one of the things that I always talk about is, for those of you who are of a certain age in corporate, there was this whole thing around General Electric, right? That was the place to work because they had these management development programs, and every 18 to 24 months, you got a new position. And, again, hindsight's 2020, right? It was a fantastic program. I mean, I know a lot of people who went through that program. There were lots of things that were really exceptional about that program. They were building leaders, right? The fundamental intention, building leaders that had a broad understanding of the organization, that had been in multiple functions, right? Multiple levels, had really seen the entire business. I mean, it was truly genius in terms of how you build not only leaders with depth, but leaders with breadth, right? If you're trying to build a great senior executive team. Masterful, really innovative at the time, those kind of things. Fantastic, right? But the human nature piece that then came about for many of those folks, which was a challenge, right? Is the program was about an 18 to 24 months, right? You're in a role, and then 18 to 24 months, you're in the next role, which is great, right? You get to move around a bit, and then you're in your final position. The unintended consequence of that is, for some, I won't say for all because that would be untrue. For some, what that did was build in an expectation that I have to come in, I have to make a big splash, I have to make a big kind of, no, I'm here because it impacts my next placement. So what you found was a bunch of people who would come in, make a big splash, be really innovative, try a bunch of things, but then they leave. So they don't have any need or learning from having to live with the consequences of the decisions they make. It's one of the challenges with consulting for those people who grew up in consulting and having worked in a consulting firm, right? So I'm speaking having lived this, right? Not just speaking out of the side of my neck. I lived this. The challenge with people who have grown up in firms and never worked outside of a firm, again, many people, there are some who have much more critical thinking, right? And much more willingness to actually get involved with and expose themselves to people who are actually working in businesses, right? They don't breathe their own exhaust of being a consultant and knowing everything. But for a number of people that grow up in consulting firms, it's kind of like the seagull effect, right? You fly in, you poop, and you keep going. You don't have to live with the consequences of the things you're telling people to do because they're paying you a lot of money because you've got the expertise or the experience as a consultant, right? So they're believing you. They're believing you. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, when I checked with Ecamm, just so you guys know, for those of you who are on my pages, I cannot see LinkedIn comments. So for those of you on LinkedIn, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I actually pulled up LinkedIn on my phone, right? So that I can see comments that come through, but I can't see them on the Ecamm platform. So just know I do see the hearts and the things and seeing you're on there. So welcome, but I will not be able to necessarily see your comments unless I can see them on the phone. So just know I'm not ignoring you. So anyway, you come in and you're a consultant and you're growing up through this consulting firm. And the beauty of these firms is that they have lots of clients, lots of industries, right? So in a firm, you also have the opportunity to experience a lot of things and learn and grow and learn how to consult, learn how to ask deep questions, right? Learn how to develop solutions based on not only expertise, but what the client needs, right? If you're a good consultant, you combine your expertise with the client's desires, right? It's called consulting. So that's a good thing. The downside is that, again, you don't necessarily have to live with the advice or the solutions that you are telling your clients to implement, right? You don't get to have to justify when something didn't work or have to morph it along the way because you get to just put in, they write a check and you're on to the next client. Well, that happens in a lot of things. Societally, from your business, from your department, from your companies. Right now in the state of Texas, we're hearing all this stuff happening in Florida because DeSantis is being really bold and outspoken about it. What's happening in Texas is the same thing, but our governor is being shady and underhanded about it. My show, I can say that, right? Actually, let me rephrase that. He is being masterfully silent, intentionally silent. So here's what happened. The following bills passed in Texas. Senate Bill 1070, 1750, 1933, 5127, 14, 1045, 17, and 5180. Essentially, what happened is no state institution can have DEI. They have to get rid of DEI. Get rid of DEI at state-funded institutions. And anyone can submit to the Attorney General a complaint that someone in an institution has somehow done something DEI related that included a course, right? A requirement to do diversity education, any of those kind of things. The person who committed the offense can be suspended without pay for a year. The institution can be fined, and that person can be fired for a second offense and can be prevented from working at any other institution. This is what the legislation, y'all go read it. Don't just believe me. This is what the legislation says, right? Right now. This is what the legislation says. The other thing that's happening is there's a bill. There's a bill. Now, I am a woman of faith. I happen to be of the Christian faith. But Christianity is not the only one. Hinduism, Judaism, Buddhism, right? Islam. There are many, many different religions. And theoretically, we have said that we have a freedom of religion here in this country. That's what we said. There's legislation now that is saying that instead of master degreed, at least 2 years in the classroom, school counselors, anyone can claim to be a chaplain and become a counselor in Texas schools. Texas public schools. Don't have to be in a classroom. Don't have specific qualifications for what it means to be a chaplain. And you're going to be counseling students. Now, we've heard all of this rhetoric around indoctrination, right? We're pulling books off shelves because one parent decides that it's offensive. Instead of just dealing with that at home with their own child, they're saying no child should be able to read it because one person complains and it gets pulled off, like Amanda Gorman's poetry that was read at the inauguration, right? But we're going to have people who can somehow claim to be a chaplain and become a counselor in a school. Now, what the person who wrote the legislation said, who, when challenged, couldn't even say what was in his own bill. Y'all, it was, I can't even explain it. Couldn't even defend what was in his own bill. Couldn't say whether or not there were qualifications. Could not do any of that other than saying, well, my expectation is that the schools would figure it out. Really? Right? Now, there is some language, some obscure language like in the bottom that says the schools get to decide if and how to implement. And oh, by the way, funding set aside for safety is what is supposed to be used to pay these unqualified, never in the classroom school counselors. So all of this stuff is going on in Texas. So you're probably saying, why is she talking about this again? One, because elections matter. Vote, 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 vote. Elections have consequences, right? Because the other thing is now the secretary, they've eliminated it for any county that has over 3.5 million people. The elections administrator position is now gone as of September 1st. And it goes to, voter registration now goes to the county tax assessor and collector. County tax assessor and collector is now the voter registrar, right? And the county clerk will be doing some of the work. The tax assessor and collector and the county clerk will now be doing the work of the formerly known elections administration person. And the Secretary of State for the state of Texas can now jump in whenever they feel that things are just not right with any election process. Y'all. So I give you all of that stuff to say, for those of you who are international and outside of Texas, like I said in the beginning, bear with me because this is I'm bringing this up as a reason. When you are making decisions, when you are setting strategies, when you are aligning your organizations, when you are building your business, the actions that you take have consequences both intended and unintended. And if you are not paying attention to the data that you're getting back, if you are not watching and evaluating and continuously monitoring whether or not the outcomes you wanted and intended are actually happening, or rather if something completely opposite of what you intended is happening, you're going to wind up with a challenge that you now have to figure out how to unwind. And sometimes you can't put that genie back in the bottle, right? In this particular instance, elections have consequences, right? There's a reason why they said counties over 3.5 million people no longer have this elections administrator. That's Harris County, the bluest county in Texas, or one of the bluest counties in Texas. The most diverse city in the state is Houston, situated in Harris County. Over 3.5 million people, right? No longer have an elections administrator. For you as a leader, for you as a business owner, to remember I talked about hidden agendas, right? For you as a business owner to be taking action, to be doing things in line with, aligned with the intent of moving your business and agenda forward, your people are watching. Your people are watching not only what you say, but what you do. Your people are watching the consequences of that. And they are watching your actions and whether your actions are aligned with your words. Now, remember I talked about that legislation about getting rid of D&I. DEI. Once again, I talked about this bill months ago. Months ago. This whole idea of making sure that everyone in this legislation, everyone has an opportunity to express their opinion, freedom of speech. I can't even remember the word they're calling it now. It's so stupid. Um, Around this variety of opinions. No, everybody should be able to have their opinion. And yet there is no funding, and you can be fined for talking about DEI, for talking about, and they use these words, racism, gender identity, oppression. And then they have things like, well, unless it's part of a course, the curriculum of which has to be approved by the Texas Board of Education, right? Y'all, we need to pay attention. As leaders, we need to be real. We need to be real about what we're doing and why we're doing it. We need to be real about what we're executing and how we're executing it and the impact on the people who we are asking to execute what we're doing. We need to get real about that stuff. Good morning, Jenny. Yes, it's absolute madness. We need to be real about what's going on and what we're intending to do, right? Because here's what's happening. We have kind of two extremes. We have this extreme, and not political extreme, I'm talking about societal extreme. We have these two extremes where we got people who are just fed up. They're just tired, and they're just going to believe the loudest voice. They're just going to believe that, right? They are easily influenced. They are intellectually lazy, right? They're not going to go do the work. They're not going to go do the, because there's so much. And in some cases, it's not intellectual laziness. It's just fatigue. There's so much out there. There's so much information. There's so much disinformation and misinformation. There's so much conspiracy theory, craziness going on. Now there's AI. There's deep fake. It's a lot. It's a lot. And if you think about the mental health challenges that we're all facing post COVID, social media, all the kind of things, there's a lot. So you got people on this extreme that are like, look, just tell me what you want, and that's what I'm gonna do. Just tell me what to do, and that's what I'm gonna do. And then you got folks on the other extreme that are like, no, 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 no. Nothing is right. Everything is wrong. None of this makes sense. We're just going to blow it all up, right? They're not paying attention either, right? They're the ones that are in their echo chambers and taking the little bits and pieces and deciding that that's truth. So those extremes are both a problem. But what's happening as well is that reasonable people in the middle, and I have to believe this, reasonable people in the middle are beginning to say, wait, this doesn't make any sense. Wait, what are we doing? Wait, what? 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 You mean I can't make a decision with my own body? You mean you're making a decision for me and my child and our health? You mean you get to decide what I get to read and when and what my child gets to read? You get to decide whether or not I get to vote on a college campus? You get to decide whether or not my ID makes sense. And you've been out of the public and real life for how long? And you're how old? And you have what kind of money? And you get your health care for free forever? Wait, what? Right? People are doing the same thing in your business. People are doing the same thing in your business. Wait, we had layoffs, but the CEO got a multi-million dollar bonus. Wait, we are cost cutting, like deep cost cutting, but they just did a big sales trip where everybody went to Hawaii. Wait, we're saying we'll do anything for the customer, but now when we do anything for the customer, we're getting reprimanded and taking our bonuses away. What? Wait, what? Right? People are actually waking up. This is what woke means, right? People are waking up to say, this doesn't make any sense. What I'm being told versus what I'm seeing does not align. Not only does it not align in terms of words aren't matching actions, but it absolutely doesn't align with what I believe or what I need or what I want or what I know. And again, I'm not talking about fringes. I'm not talking about the loudest voices that are most definitely most of the time wrong, right? Because they're just arguing to argue. I'm not talking about those fringe people. I'm talking about most of the people on a normal learning curve that are in that 95%, right? Are waking up to say, we don't have to agree on everything, but these fundamental things don't make any sense. And fundamentally, if you're telling me that we are not making money in the business, that we are having issues with building the business, that we have clients leaving us or customers leaving us all the time, and we're going to have to raise prices and cut costs, but all y'all in the C-suite got a bonus, that's not connecting for me. That we went through COVID and I was able to get more done working from my house, but now you're telling me I'm not performing well because I won't come into the office every day? That's not connecting for me, right? We are at a crossroads as leaders of people waking up and saying, wait a minute, what you're saying and what you're doing are not right. And you know what? I'm not going to be quiet about it anymore. I'm just not, because I have options. I have options. On the one hand, we're seeing job growth again. We're not seeing salary growth, but we're seeing job growth again. But people are finding out, you know what? I don't have to stay here. I do have options. There are organizations who understand that I don't have to be here. There are organizations that are really on the cutting edge of saying, you know what? We need the best and the brightest, and whatever it means to get them, that's what we're going to do within reason, right? We still got a business to run. We are still a for-profit organization, so don't get it twisted, y'all. These for-profit companies are for profit. They're for shareholders, not stakeholders. They're for shareholders. They're for share price. They're for all these kind of things. That's why we panic, right? The stock market is emotional. It's not real. It's emotional, right? So people are now finally saying in bigger masses, no, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. And as business owners and as leaders, right, as C-suite leaders in particular, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to pretend that your people don't see it and keep moving the way you've been moving? Okay, let me know how that works out for you, right? Is that what you're going to keep doing? Are you going to gaslight folks and say, oh, that's not what we meant? No, you just got that wrong. You just didn't understand. I can't tell you how many times I've had guys, I say guys because they're not men, guys tell me that in my corporate. Yeah, that's many things, but stupid is not one of those, right? I didn't misunderstand anything. I heard exactly what you said, and I understood the exact context in which you said it. You just got caught. You just got caught. So let's not pretend that I didn't hear what I heard, because I heard it. I heard it. And your people hear it too. You as a leader, as someone who, and Facebook, I think I lost you guys again. So we're going to have to figure this out because Facebook doesn't seem to want to stay connected. But I think everybody on KCOH, we're still rocking, y'all. So we're going to keep rolling. I I think it's important for us to remember as leaders that the time is now to recognize that keeping good people, especially the folks that are coming out of high school and college now, right? The folks that are going to be working for you in the future, they don't tolerate this. Why do you think they're working so hard now to take polls off of college campuses? Because those folks vote with, I look, I don't care about drag shows. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm not okay with banning books because that doesn't make any sense. I am not so fragile as to not be able to understand real history because I don't want to repeat the same thing, right? These are the folks that are coming out now. So this is a power grab. The same thing is happening in your organizations if you're a leader. It's a power grab. What are you doing to truly move the organization forward? And if you are a fantastic leader, if you are a legitimate, courageous servant leader, it's not about you. It's about what are the goals of the organization? What are you trying to do to serve your clients, to serve your customers, to serve your people? What are you trying to do to ensure all of that makes some sense? Now, in some cases, right, just the very business that you're in may be a little difficult to do that, right? Because you got folks who have real issues environmentally, right, with oil and gas and big chemicals. But here's the reality. Our entire world is built on fossil fuels. Everything. Do we need to do something about it? Absolutely. Absolutely, we need to do something. And if you're paying attention, again, y'all, pay attention. If you're paying attention, big oil started years ago not calling themselves oil companies anymore, right? They started talking years ago about renewable energy and started calling themselves energy companies, not oil companies. Years ago. Because, see, they saw what was coming, but they just didn't make a big old splash about it because, see, then you get into folks' emotions, right? You get into folks' feelings. But they're not stupid. They are looking at shareholder value. They are looking at how they continue to be going concerns, how they stay cutting edge, and cutting edge in the energy business is also looking at renewable energy. You have to. But what they didn't do is go out and splash it all over the place that, hey, we're going to be all into renewables. But that's what they're doing. Because, see, they knew mentally a lot of people weren't ready for that. So, as leaders, what are you doing to ensure that you are leading people in the way you need to go from an innovation perspective, right? Where your company goals and objectives are in terms of service and impact, but also bringing people along, right? Part of leadership is understanding what people need to know, not from your perspective, but real. What people need to know, how you can feed that to them in a way that they can tolerate it, process it, understand it, and act upon it. How you push down data at different levels because people at different levels need different amounts of information. Because sometimes there is information overload. You know, I talk about it all the time. Not everybody needs to know how the sausage is made. They just need to know we're making sausage, right? And maybe what kind of sausage and when the sausage needs to be ready. That's what they need to know, but they don't need to know all the back end processes. But some people do. And so, how are you thinking about what we're doing, how we're doing, where we're doing, what we're saying, what the data is that we're getting back that says it's working or it's not working? How are we adjusting? How are we bringing people along so that they understand, no, 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 we haven't changed the overall objective. We're just making a little detour based on after acquired information that is impacting our overall outcomes. That's what we're doing. At the end of the day, what it really comes down to is how are we trusting our people? How are we operating in truth and integrity and openness and transparency? Who are we? Who are we? And what are we willing to do to speak truth to power? What are we willing to do to call out our own mess? Right? I am the first to say, "Ooh, I messed that up." And have done that. I've had huge failures through my career and had to stand up in front of people nationally and say, you know what, total screw up. Let me tell you what happened. And by the way, because I know that eliminated or at least put a big old slash through the trust of me and my organization, I pulled in outside folks to be able to evaluate it because I knew if I were you, I wouldn't be trusting me either. So let me pull in somebody outside and we'll give you that information. And here's the bill. We really did pull them outside. Here's their report. It's not ours. We didn't edit it, right? All of the things to rebuild trust. But I was willing to take that after acquired information and say, you know what? We got to do something different. We can't just come at people acting like nothing happened. And that's where we often fall down as leaders. We like to pretend that that thing that was uncomfortable or unpleasant or wrong or unplanned just didn't happen. That didn't happen. We gaslight folks. No, you misunderstood it. No, 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 we're okay. We didn't lose any clients. It's just the industry. It's just the market. We're good. We're good. It's all right. Just keep going. Really? I want to remind you as leaders that your people may be many things, many, many things, and they are. Your people are many things, many different stories, many different concerns, many different life experiences. But what your people are not is stupid. What your people are not is unable to differentiate between what you say and what you do. What your people are not, for the most part, is naive to how things really work. And the power of access to information right now is that we can get access to how things really work. We can get access to old speeches. We can get access to old votes. We can get access to old videos. We can get access to information. And now, since we put cursive back in schools, now people can actually read original documents, right? They learn how to read cursive writing so we can read original documents. Although with AI, you can probably have somebody read it to them. So if nothing else, it can be printed out in something that's legible, right? There's so many options now. Don't sleep on your folks. Don't think that just because you don't want them to know, that they won't know. Don't think that just because you want to hide it, you want to pretend it's not an issue, that is not an issue. That will be your downfall. That will be the thing that keeps you from being able to truly lead and move forward in a way that is effective and impactful. Now, of course, you're going to have those folks that will follow you to the ends of the earth, will walk through fire for you regardless of what you do. Sometimes that's political, right? Sometimes that's self-serving, right? The yes people, because from their own personal agenda, we talked about hidden agendas, right? Their own personal agenda, they're willing to do whatever it takes because they think your coattails is where they need to be. Of course, you got those folks. All those folks exist everywhere, in every organization, in every business. And most of the time, you know who those people are. Your choice is what you do with that, what you do with them, how you respond and act with, to, through, around, for them. What are you doing with that information? Or are you pretending that none of your other folks see it? Because they do. They see it. They see how it works. Again, people are not stupid. They may choose to ignore. They may choose to put lipstick on that pig, right? As we say in the South. Can't put lipstick on that pig, right? They may choose to do that because sometimes it's just too much, right? When I started reading all of these bills, I got to tell you, it was heavy. It was heavy. The fact that these things actually passed. And when you talk to people who wrote the legislation, they can't even explain what's in the bill that they authored. Yeah, it is beyond insanity to me. Beyond. And then, because I like to sit in possibility. I like to sit in positivity, y'all, because it takes way too much energy. Talked about that yesterday. Where are you going to spend your energy? Or my podcast last week. Where are you going to choose to spend your energy? We also had a positive thing that passed in Texas. And I nearly dropped my teeth when I saw somebody, because I didn't know this had happened. Um, the Crown Act passed in Texas. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. The Crown Act passed in Texas. Y'all, good news, right? We will take every victory we can get. We will take every victory we can get because it is so hard and so difficult to fight. And it's a choice to fight, not only whether or not to fight, but how to fight. It's hard. And when you have your own business, fighting to even keep your business moving is hard. It's hard. And we want to make sure that we keep energy for positivity and moving forward in the impact we want to make, right? It's difficult to keep that energy up. And we got to find those things where we can operate in gratitude. We can find the big and small wins. We can celebrate those and re-energize ourselves to fight another day, to come back and sit in the impact we want to make. The beauty of the people that we surround ourselves with, the beauty of these amazing teams we have built who are phenomenal. Your people are great, y'all. How do you keep them? How do you move them along? And how do you, in the instances where you've got someone that's just not a fit, how do you release them with love and help them be successful somewhere else? Because it's not a character issue necessarily. It's just a fit issue. And there's no reason to slam somebody because they just don't fit with your organization or where your organization is going right now. Just part ways amicably and move on. Treat people with dignity and respect. Understand that they know, right? And they see and they deserve respect, regardless of their inability or unwillingness to do what you need them to do, right? Those two things are not mutually exclusive. You can still respect someone knowing that they can no longer fit. In fact, you should, right? We're going to do some shout outs here in a minute. Um, it is so important as leaders, as business owners, as senior executives that we recognize and put in place those things that tell us and show us what the impact is, what the outcomes are of the work we're doing, of the decisions we make, of the actions we're taking. It is critical that we understand how that goes, right? Because our ability to continue to lead and work with our people is dependent upon our understanding of the outcomes of the things that we're doing, right? We got to keep making those things happen, y'all. We've got to stay connected to not only what we want and what our vision and strategy is, but we got to stay connected to and open to getting the information back, getting the data back. And often we like to just put things in place and just run, right? And not have to revisit it again. But that's not leadership. That's not leadership. All right, let's do a few little shout outs.
We have Canada, the Philippines, Mexico, Russia, France, Germany, Brazil, Finland, United Kingdom. We also have Panama City. We also have Frankfurt, Helsinki, San Antonio, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Charlotte, Chicago, Raleigh, Kansas City, Washington, Houston, and Dallas, Fort Worth.
I love it, y'all. I love it, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I love it. I know on my feed, I'm going to go back to Ecamm. I tried them again. I think we actually lost both Facebook and LinkedIn this time, so hopefully it's still on YouTube. So I've got some screenshots I'm going to be sending back to them to say, hey, here's what's going on. Because I really like them and I'd really love to keep using them. But you know what? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Um, I I have to say, as I woke up this morning and started thinking about this place and what we're doing and where we're moving, and thinking about all the work that's being done and all the work that people are trying to do and where we are, right? Maybe I'll get, maybe I'm getting too philosophical this morning, but it's a lot. Okay. It's a lot to do what you need to do as a human, right? Do what you need to do for your family, for yourself, right? Because you got to put your mask on first. Do what you need to do for yourself. Do what you need to do for your family, um, extended and otherwise, right? The family you made and the family you created. To show up for your teams, for your business. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then to ask yourself to also not be complacent when you see injustice, to not be complacent when you see madness, to not be complacent when you see that things are not as they should be, right? It's a lot to ask. And yet, to whom much is given, much is expected. We have been given opportunities to lead, because remember, leadership is about behavior, not about position. We've been given opportunities to lead. We've been given opportunities to impact other people through our genius, whatever our genius is, right? Whatever our skills and abilities are, our qualifications, our experience, our expertise, we've been given gifts to share. And we have an opportunity as well as an obligation to share those. There are people who need you. Leaders, there are people who need you. There are people who are looking for you to guide them. There are people who are looking for you because they are just out of school and this is their first job and they are so excited, right? They want to do great work. They want to learn. They are willing to do anything to make it happen. And they're looking to you to help them and guide them. What are you doing? Are you getting irritated because they're new? Are you thinking, oh, well, they're new and they're moving faster, they're learning this faster than I did, and they're going to take my job? Is that where you are? Or are you thinking, you know what? But my legacy is I'm building new leaders. My legacy is anyone who comes through my department, who starts in my company, leaves and builds something else bigger and better. What is the legacy you're wanting to leave? Because if you think about that first, then your actions can follow that. Your impact follows your actions, right? And your actions can then be evaluated by you and others in a way that is open, that is honest, that is objective, because it's focused on the legacy you're trying to create or the objectives you're trying to achieve. You're looking at actions and outcomes in the context of stated objectives, not in the context of personal skills, capabilities, character, all that kind of stuff. You're not looking at it for judgment. You're looking at it to make the next decision, to take the next action, to move forward in the next thing. That's what you're looking at, right? Leadership has personal impact, but it's not personal, right? Leadership isn't about you. Leadership is about getting things done with, through, for, by other folks. It's about the other people who are looking to you. Small business owners, it's about the folks who say, I do not want to be in corporate. I want to go work for a small business owner who is driven by purpose, who is impacting the community. Or I want to work for a really big corporation who could make a really big impact, but I'm going to be listening to their investment calls. I'm going to be seeing who they're doing business with. And I'm going to ask critical questions of my leaders every time I get an opportunity. But I'm not going to leave. I'm going to stay because I know I can make an impact in this Fortune 500. I'm going to be loud and squeaky. I'm going to do all of that. I'm also going to be really strategic in how and when I do it because I'm going to learn to be savvy and to play the game so I can make an impact because I know that I can change the trajectory for some folks if I stay inside, right? Or I know I can change the trajectory for folks and I can serve bigger if I leave. That was my decision. I can serve bigger, better, broader if I leave, if I'm not constrained by somebody else's vision, right? And somebody else's madness and somebody else's drama. If I'm not having to play that game, and better yet, because I'm good at playing the game, but I don't want to. I don't want to play it anymore, right? Not that game. And don't get me wrong, entrepreneurs, there are plenty of games we still got to play, right? But I'm just at a crossroads, not only in my life, right? But in my career, in my spirit, that says I'm going to choose which games I engage in. I'm going to choose with whom I work and how I work and where I work. I'm going to choose to always show up. And I'm going to show up to the best of my ability and I'm going to be transparent and authentic. And if I'm having a bad day, I'm going to say, you know what, this is not the best day, but here's where we are. And if it's so bad, I'm going to say, you know what, today I am going to have to take a knee. And here's what I'm going to do to make up for that, right? I am going to be true to me so that I can serve with excellence. And you can do the same. And you should do the same because you owe it to you. And you owe it to the people who are looking to you for guidance and support and uplift. They're looking to you. You are an example. You never know who's watching because somebody's always watching. They're watching you. They're watching to see how you respond to that craziness that you just experienced. They're watching as a leader to see how you address someone who is behaving poorly. They're watching to see how you respond to someone who made a mistake. They're watching to see how you address people, how you show up. Someone's always watching. And by your behavior, you're telling them how to behave. By your behavior, you may be helping them understand their own story, because we all have one. And by you telling yours and you acting through yours and you making sure you know what you need for yours, you are helping somebody own and be okay with theirs. That's the power of what we do every day. That's the power of what we do every day. But it requires us to understand that we may have good intentions, but intentions can have bad impact even when they're good, right? What is that? The road to hell with paved with good intentions? Good intentions can have bad impact. We also need to be mindful and be honest about what our intentions are. And we need to ask what somebody else's intentions are. And we need to listen actively. And that means pay attention to not only what they say, but what don't they say? How do they act? How don't they act? How do they respond to things? Maya Angelou said, people will reveal themselves to you early, believe them the first time. Are you paying attention? Are you watching? Are you listening? Are you observing? And are you doing so to understand, to comprehend, and to inform your actions? Or are you doing so you can rapid response? Sometimes you need a rapid response. Sometimes you need to really flee, right? That fight, flight, freeze mode. Sometimes flight is the answer, but it's not always. And fight isn't always the answer. Sometimes you just need to let stuff go. Where are you going to put your energy? As my friend always tells me, sometimes the juice is not worth the squeeze, right? That's so Southern. That's a Southern thing to say. The juice ain't worth the squeeze, baby. Sometimes the fight's not worth it. But as grown folks, as adults, as leaders, we have to make decisions. We have to decide and then act accordingly. It is imperative that we do so because people need us. People need us to respond, to behave, to act in ways that demonstrate to them what is right, what is good, what is appropriate, what is necessary, what is expected. Our actions support or negate our words. People will listen to what you say. They will believe what you do. All right? Now, everybody, I want you to go out and see what happened in your latest legislative session. It's summertime. Go back and see what bills passed, who voted for them. It's all out there. It's all public record. Go look. Go to your state.gov, right? Or ohio.state. Go to your website for your state houses. What passed? What didn't? What is the language in there? Start a legislative book club, right? We're going to go read the bills, take the bills apart, understand the bills. We're going to go get an attorney that we know and read through all this legalese. How about that? Oh, I might have to start that legislative book club, right? Go see what happened. Go do that now in the summer so that you can prep yourself for the elections in the fall. Because it starts local. It starts with school boards. School boards are critical. It starts with mayors, councilmen, right? Then state, then federal. But it starts local. Go see what happened. Go see what passed. Go see what the folks in your location said about it or didn't say. Because silence sometimes can speak volumes. But go find out the information. Go educate yourself on what happened and how it's going to impact you. And then make a decision. Are you okay with that or are you not? And either way, go get registered and double check your registration and take someone with you to get them registered, right? Let's stop being complacent. Let's stop being silent. Let's move because there are people who are moving in silence in ways that are not beneficial for the majority of us, right? They're not beneficial for the majority of us. They are absolute in their intention to maintain and or expand power. Let's pay attention, right? Let's pay attention. Let's make sure we are educated and we are using the gifts that we have been given, the intellect that we have been given We are not stupid and we are not sheep. We are not. I was watching Magnificent Seven the other day, and one of the lines said about homesteaders, if God didn't mean them to be sheared, he wouldn't have made them sheep. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't intend to let anybody shear me. So, what are you going to do? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate so much every listen, every download, every comment, all of it. And we will get this tech thing on my side. KCOH is doing great. On my side, we will get this thing. I'm going to send more notes to ECAM today. We will get all this straightened out. Make sure it's all working so I don't keep losing y'all on one platform or the other. Because I really do love this platform. I really don't want to go back to the other one, but we're going to have to figure something else out. So thank y'all. I really appreciate it. It's been a great Tuesday. Stay tuned. I'll be making the announcements about the website. I'm really excited about it. And I hope you will be too. Go get on my mailing list and you'll get all the stuff that's coming out soon. And we will plan to see you. I have a really great guest coming up here in June on the 20th. His name is Devin Strahan. He is the founder and owner of Devon's Spiked Root Beer. His story is incredible. I can't wait for you guys to meet him. We're going to talk about all things leadership, entrepreneurship, resilience, right? How do you fail and get back up? Right? What does that look like? How do you move forward? He is an incredible human, and I can't wait for you to meet him. So stay tuned. I'll be posting about that so you won't miss it. And yeah, let's plan on meeting right back here next Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central Time on KCOH TV Global Network here in Houston, Texas. Historic Third Ward, corner of Alameda and Wichita. Take care, everybody. It's great to see you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
You are tuned into the